Hello and welcome to What's Map for Cities Skylines, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. There are thousands of items on the workshop now, so finding the right one for your next city build is a huge task. So each day, Monday to Saturday, we'll review some using our 5-star rating and the coveted seal of approval. So join me, fellow Skylines explorers, as we venture out to today's new land. Who am I? I'm BonBonB, and you are very, very welcome.
Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. BonBon here. How you doing? Well, I hope you had a really good weekend. I had quite a busy one making these shows, plus doing a little bit more work to do though. The latest update was on Friday. I'll include a link to the show at the end of today's video, and of course there'll be another one coming along on Friday. Right, this week seems to have been a little bit quiet for quality stuff on the Steam Workshop. There's one obvious map to review, which we're doing today. A few others for the long list, and I figured if we're going to add a couple to the long list, I'll clear a few from the long list. So we've got 3 maps this week from about, I don't know, 5-6 months ago that I didn't have time to do. Tomorrow's map's quite an interesting one. It's a request map. It's not going to score highly, because it kind of deserves its own category. I've not looked at it myself yet, but if it's what I expect it to be, it's definitely going to be worth checking out. Also, things to watch out for are snakes, sharks, and static electric shocks off of the like button. That's right, hitting the like button really does support the channel, feeds the sharks and keeps the wolves from the door. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, let's crack on and do today's map, which is A Sort of Homecoming by a Gussing Navy. Gussing Navy, best known for their intersections. There are loads on the workshop. Haven't seen anything for a while, and this is a map. Good to have them back. A Sort of Homecoming, if you like. This is sort of the start square. It's a converted save game, so it's very hard to say where the start square actually ends and finishes and ends, sort of. There's your resources. I'll let you make up your own mind on those ones. And then off to the workshop. Now, it is a mass transit DLC map. You'll need that. There is a link to all the things you're going to need. My brain's not working. There's your relight settings, just in case you don't fancy going off of the Steam page, because that will take you off site in case you're scared of that kind of thing. I know I am sometimes. And these are all the things you're going to need from the one-click collection. And there's a few. It's the relight Rocky Shore. Nope, the Stray Cats theme Rocky Shore. I know what I'm talking about. I do sometimes. And we're using the relight film LUT, which is quite lucky because I was already using it and I forgot to change it, and I only realised right at the very end that I was just by chance using the right LUT. That would have been a bit annoying if I had to re-record this today. Anyways, it's lovely. Look at the distance between those two highways. Good distance between them, no glitching between them. I'm loving that. That is beautiful work. Now, with Gussing Navy, we're talking about high standards. We're talking about a map we're expecting to see at least a couple of really nice intersections on. And we've got a real treat for the second half of the show. I'm going to avoid showing any clues to it until we get to it. And if you look at this and go, well, it's just a valley and some trees and this nice highway network. Yeah, there's a little bit more to come hidden away. That is definitely worth checking out. We are in for a bit of a treat with that one. There's a map that is almost flawless. Could do a little bit more polish here and there, but only if you really want to be a perfectionist. There is one of your 2 intersections right in the middle of the start location. It's kind of the start square here, and I'm liking that. Just look pretty. It's not intersection porn. This is art. This is too classy to be porn. Let's just check out for any silly errors. There won't be any, by the way, but we'll check out for the heights and pillars in the highways. Everything will be very lovely indeed. Now, do make sure you read the description on this map very carefully. It does require you, once loading the map and unlocking the areas you want to unlock and all that sort of stuff, to basically save it, shut down the game, and then restart it and reload the game that you have saved, and all the glitches will disappear, because there will be 1 or 2 glitches otherwise. Oh, look at this neat tunnel here. It'd be nice if it was next tunnel, but it's not. But that's fine. Not quite sure where you're building into with those 2 highways going into the rail there, but yeah, I'm looking at it. I think this is kind of like an industrial rail area, maybe. So possibly that's what all that is all about. And if we have a look at this, you'll find that we have an asset on view in the asset review. It's the Gentry Rama 9 Type L modern house by Arms Plans. This is number 1 in the Steam items chart, and deservedly so. Definitely using this in Duvo. I've got just the location for it. And factoids, because factoids. To keep Louis XV's love, Madame de Pompadour lived on a diet of vanilla truffles and celery, all of which were supposed to be aphrodisiacs. Well, they didn't cover any of that in Doctor Who's The Girl in the Fireplace, did they? Celery. Celery. Sorry, I try not to be sick into the microphone. Don't mind so much the vanilla truffles, mind you. The Gentry Rama 9 Type L modern house by Arms Plans, today's lovely asset of the day. Let's get back to A Sort of Homecoming by Gusting Navy and not be distracted by other distractions anymore. Where should we go? Should we go across the river? Okay, we've got a little bit of a split in the highway here. It's very nice. You can see how beautifully and aesthetically sweeping it is. That is a very lovely, I don't know, 3-leaf clover, maybe. And there is another location for getting started right in the start square. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure. Over here as well. I like this as well. This is a quite nice little spot. The only area here that you can't get into directly is this little zone over here. So it looks like you're going to be building a bridge over the highways to access that. These tunnels look great from the sides. Great detailing. The game isn't really designed for this sort of tunnel though. If you come around here, you have a look at that, then it just looks horrific from this angle. Nothing a Gusting Navy could have done short of not doing what he's done there. But I like that. I think aesthetically it's a really lovely thing. Detailing, am I going to knock a point off for detailing just for that? No, I think we're looking for something else to bring us down from that 5th star, because the detailing is so far sublime. Nothing wrong with it at all. I haven't seen the jinky janky. I haven't seen the wibbly wobbly. I haven't seen anything really to grumble about at all so far. Possibly the fields on the right. We're not really going to look at the fields because I forgot. I think the hedgerows in the fields, they're a little bit, well, they're just a hint to fields rather than actually fields. But never mind. Loving this rail bridge, by the way. Simple, but basic, but very tidy, and almost was the thumbnail. I glanced at that for more than a second too long before speeding along, thinking that could be the thumbnail for the end. But no, I have got somewhere in mind, sort of ish, a rough location ish for the end. The rail, you may notice I'm not really talking too much about the rails because there's not really too much to say. Yes, I did notice the stone feature there. We don't go and look at that either. There are a few aspects of this map we don't really look at. What I would call the minor features. Through the start square like that, the rail splits, so maybe you could have a residential line and a freight line. I think that's what the intention of these two lines possibly is. Past these, once again, the fields look like they're lined with cabbages, don't they? And this is the point lost for detailing. I'm pretty sure this line is meant to be in active use, and we have got encroaching foliage there. So there's a point lost for detailing. So if you're gonna have a go at me at the end, sorry, but yeah, that is a detailing fault, isn't it? Come on, admit it. Okay, right, we're just about to meet the edge of the map, which means I can take a couple of moments, have a sip of my coffee, and leave you in the safe hands of my friend Zach.
Do your bridges look like the game's AI has gone on holiday? Would you like vanilla bridges to be proud of? Then you need the beginner's guide to perfect bridges by BonBonB. Click the information button below.
And we're back to A Sort of Homecoming by A Gusting Navy. Now, we don't have any shipping routes, not surprisingly really, because the river is quite shallow, but we do have one air route going right across the map like that. Water flow. We have a couple of minor rivers, tributary rivers if you like, that feed down into the main river. These aren't really water sources as such, but they're quite nice, and there is good water flow running down them considering the size of the rivers and of course the depth of them as well. I don't have any problems with these at all. They feed into the main river, which is this one here, and that will go off the edge of the map pretty quickly. So we're going to turn around and head upstream because I definitely want to see the start square location. Not that it really matters too much with this map, which we'll find out a little bit later on, but the river that runs through the start square is even so definitely strong enough and wide enough to host a small city anyway. And that goes off the edge of the map at the top there. Water flow all the way through. Let's have a look at the water down at ground level. Now, I'm quite happy. I know I normally quite often moan about nice maps not having much foliage along the water line, but I think this map almost gets away with it. And I think it kind of almost gets away with it. I think there's just enough to distract you from everything else. But instead of having a look at the river, we're going to head up into the hills. You can see this is a highway that's connected to the edge of the map because we do have traffic flowing down it. It's quite a scenic route, but this is not the reason, because you're saying, BonBon, we've already looked at the roads. Yeah, this is going to take us somewhere very special indeed, and it's a nice route anyway. It is a very nice route, very nicely planned, nicely designed, nicely drawn out. And then we have this dirt track, and we're going to follow this, and I'm going to deliberately try to obscure the view of where we're going if I can with my camera work. Oh dear, never thought mouse and keyboard would be so interesting. Not since Doom. Oh, do you remember Doom? Oh, with the mouse and keyboard. Only way to play the game. And anyway, so we'll keep coming down here, and we are now entering the pièce de résistance. Not even built by Jez. Here we go. It's the reservoir. Look at that, baby. That for me is really nice indeed. Makes a lot of sense. Got some lovely detailing going on down here. If we have a little look at this little thing here, that's a little power transformer thing. That's providing power to the pumping stations, because these are pumping stations. That's providing power to these two pumping stations. And we have the clarifiers and stuff down here for your sewage, and that's providing power to your sewage. You may notice we've got some bins collecting there. That's because obviously these are in place. I'm recording live and the rubbish is piling up. One of the first things you'll need to do is put in some sort of like waste treatment facility just to get the garbage collected. Nice detailing all around there. Down here, minor grumble, only because we had one last week, and if I didn't pull them up on this one, see the way that the road falls just short of the pier. I would like that one of two options. Hang on, not that. There. Move it. That's the one. I would like to see either for that to actually lead into the pier, like so. I think that looks a little bit better. I'm producing some jinky janky in the process. That was me and not a gussing navy. So that would be option A. Option B, if I undo what work we just did there, is to maybe pull it off to the side here. I think I prefer this, where the road leads up to the vicinity, rather than where the road actually joins up with the pier almost, and then you get the two ruined areas, which we'll have a look at here, that kind of like merge into each other. See the ruined from the two areas. It just, for me, I'd like it not touching or completely touching. I wouldn't mark the map down for detailing on that, obviously. That would be a bit too stringent of me. It's not losing a second star. This dam is beautiful. It's hinting to the fact there's some pipes down here. There aren't any, and I kind of would like to see some, but it's not really essential. Again, not marking it down for this, because I think the hints that this is actually a live dam is enough. What we have here is outflow of sewage into this little river area here, once again with its own power source, so that is fine. These are pumping out the sewage, and we've got this little area here between the two dams. Now you imagine that might get a bit stinky, like this one here where the water isn't flowing out. It's not, this is quite a nice design, We've seen this kind of work before, but I like the way this has been done, because we do actually have some water spawn points here as well, which is going to suck away the water as it's coming in. So while that might become like a sewage infested area, it's not going to overflow with sewage. It should be okay. It should actually balance out. What I'm less keen on, and it's a minor grumble, this little bit of dry river here. I understand why, and I kind of sort of buy into it, but there's water here, which is kind of like, I think, pushing in from the river down below. Maybe, I'm not checked for water spawn points here, but I would like to see maybe just a trickle of water coming through from this dam and just feeding here. Yeah, I think the water is coming in from the river possibly. But anyway, yeah, that's my only minor grumble with that part of the map. And you know what? That dam and that little water flow area in itself is a beautiful thing. A thing of wonder. But I don't want to use that as a thumbnail. I wanted to use somewhere else. I'm not sure that's is that a lake or a reservoir? If that's a natural lake, I don't buy it. If that's a secondary reservoir, because we're right on the edge of this ravine, I'm not sure that that is a realistic lake. I'm not buying it as a reservoir either. I don't know. I'll show you the hills. We'll get to the thumbnail in a minute. The hills aren't alive with the sound of trees, but I don't mind that too much. But where the trees are coming into the hills, I'd like to see them taper around a little bit. Maybe up into these ravines just a little bit more than they're hinting at the moment. Like here. Why do the trees stop there when there would be lush soil right the way up into this ravine, that gorge there? I'd like to see them go up a little bit further. But once again, it's a map that hints at beauty rather than fulfills it entirely, which I guess is as good as, you know. Over here as well, we've got some tree. I'm not quite sure why we've got trees there, but not on the other side, not in the ravine. Not in the gully, and not beyond there. Not quite sure why. Maybe it's tree limit. Maybe that's a tree felled area, which is also quite plausible. I don't have any major issues with it at all. And I'm now going to try and find that start square the thumbnail location. Right. Voting. Your chance to vote on the map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? We'll find somewhere in a moment for this thumbnail. I don't think we're going to use the reservoir. Yes, we do use your votes at the end of the month to find the best top 10 maps of the month as voted by you. Right, okay. So, aesthetically, it's really nice. It's really, really nice. I think it could be a little bit more so. Just a little bit along the, like I say, I'd like to see possibly a little bit more foliage along the waters and also those ravines and such. But it's so close to 5, but it's a 4-star for me. Detailing, exceptional. Would have got 5 stars if there hadn't been that obvious error with the foliage on the rail lines. I would let them off the tunnel entrances on that intersection, to be honest. Gameplay potential. I am going to give it 5 stars. I am. I think this has got a lot of options and a lot of potential built into it. There are possibly, you could argue that I might have knocked a star off for the start square with the highway running into the rail, but I think that's easily fixed. Do you know what? I'm going to stick with 5 stars for gameplay. A Sort of Homecoming by Gussing Navy. This is something that we have been waiting for a long time, and it well deserves the BonBonB seal of approval. Thank you very much. Good to have you back, Gus. Good to have you back. Right, thanks very much for watching, for commenting, for liking and for subscribing. I'll put a link to a Duvo on the screen in a couple of moments. You will want to check that one out if you haven't already. It's starting to come together quite nicely. Very early days still as well. Old map on the screen now if you want to go and check an old one. It's now got a vote on it as well, so you can be possibly the first to go and vote on that. And I'll see you tomorrow for another map in the What Map series. Thanks for watching, and I've been very, 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 well, thankful for you being here.